Hello, this is episode 4 of the Ranger Gareth podcast. I am your host, Gareth, and I have been asked to do this episode by a couple people, so I am going to just jump right into it. I'm going to be talking about some of the local gems around Edmonton, so some areas that you can hike or go experience nature that a lot of people don't seem to know about. I have a lot of friends that are very urban and don't know that we have all these great locales right outside city limits. So I'm going to provide you 4 of my favorites that are all within about a half hour of Edmonton. So no real excuse. If you have a vehicle, you can get out there. These places don't take very long to get to, and you can explore them easily in an hour, 2 hours if you wanted to. So yeah, let's go ahead. Number 1 is the Wagner Natural Area. Now, I know I've taken some of my friends out here, but for those of you that don't know, it's approximately 30 minutes west of Edmonton, and it's sometimes known as the Wagner Bog for pretty obvious reasons. It goes through some very swampy areas. There's a boardwalk through the bog to avoid damaging the sensitive vegetation, which is really important because for those of you that don't know, bogs are very sensitive and your footprints last a lot longer than you would expect there. It was designated as a natural area in 1975, and it is 620 acres, which sounds pretty big, but the main trail running through the middle of it, which is a 1.5 kilometer long loop, is the Marl Pond Trail. Not a very long trail, so due to the fact that it's such a short trail and you can cover such a wide variety of habitats, it's a great field trip destination. The trail goes through an open field, a poplar grove, and the bog, which is full of black spruce and other bog vegetation there. So if you're trying to get your kids or your friends into nature in a very easy way, this is a good place to introduce them to that bog ecosystem. If you guys wanted to become a little more involved in the Wagner Natural Area, the Wagner Natural Area Society costs $10 to become a supporting member and $15 to become a voting member. If you're part of that society, it'll just allow you to have a voice in the future of the location. Number 2 is the Lois Hole Centennial Provincial Park. Anyone in St. Albert probably knows it simply as Big Lake, and it used to be called the Big Lake Natural Area until it was renamed. It's just outside the northwest leg of Anthony Henday Drive in Edmonton, and it's at the end of the Sturgeon River. There's a boardwalk that goes through the wetland. The John E. Pool wetland is what they call the kind of swampier area on the edge of Big Lake. And Ducks Unlimited has a interpretive boardwalk that goes along the wetland. So there are signs explaining the flora and fauna there, some of the bugs, some of the birds you can find. Again, another really good one for kids or for people that aren't familiar with the wildlife. There's a great variety that goes through that area, and it's actually recognized as a globally significant, important bird area due to its abundant and diverse bird population, especially waterfowl and shorebirds. So when I went out there, I saw a lot of stuff. You guys should bring a camera. I saw muskrats, I saw a bunch of swallows, and I saw this one shorebird that's called a sora, which is quite hard to spot most of the time. The Lois Hole Centennial Provincial Park, it's quite close to the Enjoy Center. So if you guys are familiar with the area, it's that giant garden center / restaurant / grocery store. If anyone has been to Glow, they have Glow out at the Enjoy Center every year. The lake itself is 8 kilometers wide, or 8 kilometers long and 3 kilometers wide. And yeah, it's very easy walking. There's pretty much no elevation there. There's a really nice paved trail that goes along the Sturgeon River all the way to the lake itself. So very easy to access, and I would say for the most part, wheelchair accessible. Number 3 would be the Clifford E. Lee Nature Sanctuary. This one's approximately 30 minutes southwest of Edmonton, depending on your starting point. And this one also has a boardwalk, so you're probably starting to see a theme here. Most of our natural areas involve some kind of wetland. It's 348 acres of marshland, open meadow, aspen parkland, and pine forest. There's a wide variety of animals, including 100 different species of birds and some very habituated chickadees. I've seen chickadees, downy woodpeckers, hairy woodpeckers, a bunch of water birds and shorebirds. Cute little side note about this place, they have communal snow shovels, so visitors that come in the winter help shovel snow off the boardwalk, and if everyone shovels off a little section, then the path stays clear for everyone else that comes that might not be as able-bodied as you are. It was established in 1977 and has grown in size quite a bit since its initial creation, and it was named after, well, Clifford E. Lee, who was an Albertan with a passion for environmental and humanitarian causes, and he made a fortune via his construction company. When he was nearing the end of his life, he transferred his personal fortune into a foundation for philanthropic purposes, and yeah, the Nature Sanctuary became one of the largest projects that was funded by the foundation. They're always accepting donations. Again, if anyone has any extra money to spare, that's a great place to put it. I understand now might not be the best time to be trying to hit up donations, but once this all clears up, they're a very deserving cause. The final one I wanted to talk about is Cooking Lake Blackfoot Provincial Recreation Area. This one's approximately 35 minutes east of Edmonton, and it's directly attached to the southern half of Elk Island National Park. So if you guys know where Elk Island is, you're going to know where Cooking Lake is. Literally just go to Elk Island, drive south, it's right there. It's on the southern border. There are 4 main staging areas that people start off in: Waskahegan, Islet Lake, Central, and Blackfoot Lake. And there's a very dense trail system. So the other locations I was talking about, they have these nice easy loops that go through them. Cooking Lake Blackfoot has a much denser trail system, a bunch of intersecting trails all over the place. Hunting is permitted with a discharge permit, and that can be obtained from the conservation officers that are stationed out there. There are a bunch of small ponds and wetlands throughout this natural area. And in winter, it's very popular for cross-country skiing. There are 125 kilometers of groomed trails, 60 kilometers of ungroomed trails, and 85 kilometers of track-set trails. There are warm-up shelters provided along the trails. No dogs are snowshoeing on the track-set trails. However, snowshoeing is permitted on the equestrian trails, pastures, frozen ponds, and lakes. Stay off the double track-set trails if you're snowshoeing. And on single ski track set trails, please stay off the tracks as it damages them. So I love snowshoeing, and it's really good to respect the etiquette that goes out there, because for us snowshoers, we just need snow, but the cross-country skiers, they need very specific things in order to go about their day, including the track set and the groomed trails. So it's just nice if we let them have it. Snowmobiling is also permitted under certain conditions, so this is a bit different than the first 3 that I mentioned. There's also the world-famous Canadian Birkebeiner Ski Festival, which occurs every February, provided that there's enough snow. So day 1, there's the Nordic Fair and the race registration, and this is where you're going to be picking up your Birkie souvenirs, getting waxing advice for your cross-country skis, watching waxing demos, and enjoying some beer samples. Day 2 is the main day. It's race day, and it's the Viking Feast. So there's the 55-kilometer Birkebeiner, which is the true Birkebeiner with the 12-pound pack on your back. And it's to recreate the original Birkie event. It's based on an old legend where, I'm hoping I'm going to say this right, but it was either a Norwegian or Finnish king died and his brother took over the throne. The brother wanted to solidify his claim to the throne, so he was going to kill his nephew in order to make sure there were no legitimate heirs to the throne. One of the old king's loyal servants heard about this plot to kill the baby, strapped the baby to his back, that's the 12-pound pack you're carrying, and skied approximately 55 kilometers to the next village where this baby prince was safe and was able to eventually go back and reclaim his throne. So if anyone knows the actual legend and I'm butchering it, please let me know. There's also the 31-kilometer mid-distance race, and then they have 2 or 4 kilometer races for parents and their kids, so it's kind of just a fun day for them. And then the Viking Feast is a very hearty meal at the end of the day, at the end of the race day, and it's just a good way to end a busy day. You've been out cross-country skiing all day in the cold, or you're one of the volunteers that is very important for making sure this event actually happens. It's just a good way to reward yourself and to meet with some of the other contestants. Day 3, that one occurs in Edmonton at Horilac Park. It's just a bunch of fun activities for families all day. So in 2020, it was kind of attached to the Silver Skate Festival. And yeah, it had free ski equipment rentals. It was just a great introduction to cross-country skiing. They set tracks in Horilac Park in Edmonton. And yeah, have people that have never experienced cross-country skiing before go out and give it a shot. So there you go. There are 4 spots within approximately 30 minutes of Edmonton that you can go to for your daily dose of nature once quarantine finally ends. Let me know what your favorite local gems are around Edmonton. I would love to hear it. I'm going to go into more detail for parks within Edmonton later. And yeah, look forward to hearing from you. Music was provided by Brian J. Nelson. Check him out on SoundCloud.